Hey everyone, welcome to the AWS Blogger. With me, I have OBS Ninja creator, Steve Seguin. Steve, how are you?
Hey John, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Before we begin, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and the notification button. We'll be talking about release 15 that just came out. And what do we want to talk about? What are some of the special features or key things?
One of the highlights has been a recording option, both local and remote. It's a revamp of the previous recording option. But in this particular case, if your internet's not very good and you're trying to do a recording, you can now have the director remote control the performer and have them record their local webcam to disk so that it's not going to be interfered by network issues. High quality bitrate capture that way. We have closed captioning. This is experimental, but it allows every guest to transcribe their audio into text, and they will then stream their text to the director or to OBS, and you can then apply closed captioning to the video. And that can include labels saying who's saying what, which is kind of a neat little thing for closed captioning.
Now, real quick on that one, you said with the closed captioning, do I have the ability to edit a closed caption for any of the words or keys that didn't pick up correctly?
It's a little bit simple. You are given what you're given. You can always take the code off GitHub and modify it if you want to add in additional logic. But I also welcome feedback. So if there's a feature request you want, I'll happily add it in.
Awesome.
Right now, the only control you have is over font size and over the language being transcribed. So yeah, those are URL enabled. CC or transcript are the two flags. You can see the advanced parameter section on the OBS Ninja wiki for that. You can edit the labels from the director's room now. So instead of having to add the labels to the guest's URL, you can now dynamically edit them from the director's room. You can also add one. So right now we are recording with our labels in this video. So you could remotely control and remotely change what my label says. I expanded on the audio control, the remote audio controls a bit. So as a director, you can change echo cancellation, EQ, things like that. But I kind of revamped it compared to the previous version. It's more reliable. There's more controls, and it will also now list the audio and video device label for the director, so you know which camera they have selected. And in the future, you'll be able to change that.
Now, you said in the previous version, was that version 14, 14.3 that was out there, or?
In 14.3, you had some remote control abilities. Yeah. This extends it even further, adds more polish, fixes a lot of audio bugs.
You know what's interesting, Steve, is that I just created a version 14 director video, 5 tips and trips, and got that out there when you mentioned your release version 15. And at the end of it, I talked about doing a specific video on all the audio controls because I think that's really key to touch on. So I think that's perfect that you just did this, and then I can kind of, tailor towards the audio portion of it and give my feedback on that. Steve, real quick, can you give us a little bit of information on some of the audio controls that are available?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can change echo cancellation, auto gain, denoise. Those are easily accessible from the director's room now. If you add the parameter EQ to the guest, currently that will enable an equalizer, and so the director can now remotely control bass, treble, aspects like that to the sound. You can see which audio device has been selected, and in the future you'll be able to dynamically change those devices as well. But this is an incremental update to that. If you are on a mobile device like an Android, there's even more accessibility options. So anything that might be available on an Android device can be now remotely controlled by the director, and those are kind of device specific. Maybe the number of channels, 1 or 2, sample rate, those types of things you can also kind of remotely change.
So are there any other features from the new director panel that you want to share?
I can open up the director's panel and demonstrate it a bit here.
Yep.
There is a new hint feature that will hint at security, saying that you should enter a password, that you want to keep the room name secure. That's very
I noticed that when I was testing out today. I'm like, wait, that's interesting. It's suggesting the password or some of the features for that one. I think that's really good.
Security is very important to me, and I've been noticing that a lot of users are creating overly simple room names. So hopefully this will be a hint for those users to be a little more responsible. The director's room as a whole has been kind of revamped a little bit. Before we had 4 windows here. Now we have simply 2, and to provide an option to switch between the old 2 invite links, you have a toggle. So you can have a invite link that is just like what we're doing right now, where everyone can see each other, or we could toggle that off, and then guests can only publish into the room. They can't see anyone in the room. Same thing goes with the group scene. We have introduced a new button that allows us to consolidate this link into one link, but this lets us have the scene be automatic or a manual scene.
I was going to ask you that one because before we had the manual one and we had the automatic one, and I was going to ask how that kind of worked with the new layout of the director panel. So I'm glad you condensed that, made it a little more simple, but it's still very powerful.
I appreciate that. There's a lot more work to go. The director's room is a constant UX challenge. Adding more functionality, you can kind of get advanced options. I think this was in 14.4. I think there's one new option that was added since 14.4, and that's this Obfuscate option now. So if you press that, it converts the invite guest button into an invite.cam link. So this is the same. This is also part of OBS Ninja, but this link is brand free. All the URL parameters are encoded, so guests won't know what the parameters are. They won't be able to really know that you're using OBS Ninja. It's just a little bit of professional polish for those users who want to have a more professional domain, let's call it. But all the other options are here, like equalizer, for example. And as you can see, you can visually see which each of these options do to the URL parameter, which I hope is a learning opportunity. And of course, there's an option to link out to the advanced parameters where there's even more options.
The advanced parameters. You got to bring that up. I didn't even realize that.
So we have all the advanced parameters. It's broken down into source, publisher, and generic parameters, but a lot of these you're not going to get because they're pretty advanced. Like chroma value here, you can change the background color. So if you want a green screen in OBS, that's an example of something you can do. Lots of options there, but I put the main ones you might want here. Another UI change is that
that's cool. I didn't even know that moved.
Yeah, so you can drag that around. That's kind of fun.
I thought that was like permanent there. Hold on a second. I got to test this out here.
That's new in 15.
Cool. Oh wow! All right. Hey, that's an awesome feature on that.
Before in 14, I try to make the videos smaller to fit in the control bar. I wasn't digging it, and so I felt like this was a better solution that lets people move the bar where they want if it's blocking it, and still lets the screen be fully filled. So I'll see if users like that or not, but that's the way I went. You provided feedback, I think, actually, for a hang-up button. So the director now has a hang-up button.
So you want to give some background on that one, on the feedback, on the hang-up button that you kind of put in there? Because I had some things of testing that I came across in a discussion between you and I on that.
Right. So as a director, you normally don't start with any audio or video, and you can enable audio that you can talk to the audience. But if you want to disable audio, you would have to go here and click no audio. And it's still kind of there connected. The guests might be seeing a black video or something, and it's not what you want. So the hang up button now deletes the connection essentially. So it removes you as a peer from the mesh, and then you can join the mesh back again. So you're able to still see all the feeds, and yet you can join and disconnect as a participant dynamically now. You can also screen share now a little easier. So you have that screen share button added in.
Oh, wait, I didn't even notice that. So wait, I can screen share right from the director and...
Yep, you can screen share from the director now without having to do anything special. Before I had it kind of hidden in here.
Yeah.
So now I moved it to here. And that's a feature that's new in 15. There's a red icons are new, for example. So just a little bit of polish to that control bar, especially for the director in particular. If I invite a guest in, I mentioned the recording options. So there's a remote recording option, and we get a little timer saying how long we've been recording for, and I can stop it. And now, as a remote guest, I get the file downloaded to my browser.
Now, do I have the ability as a director to download it, or just as the remote guest to download it?
So you still have the option to record
local. Okay, locally. So I can record both, but I can control it as a director, and I don't have to worry about my guest saying, hey, don't forget to click that button to go ahead and do the recording. You can do it yourself. That's actually a really nice ad there.
The quality is going to be much better if the performer does the recording. If the director does it, it's streaming the data to your computer. So if there's a network problem, there's going to be hiccups captured. If the performer does it, there's no network involved, so there's no quality loss caused by that. For it would download at the end of the stream, and it would fill up your RAM with the video recording, and that caused problems with crashing if you ran out of RAM. So this new method took quite a bit of effort, but it now streams directly to the downloads folder, which is kind of nice. So if something crashes or if you run out of RAM, it's not going to impact the recording in the same way it did before. So in
most cases, everybody has at least or hopefully has a big hard drive to go download some of these. I mean, you think about it, they're really not that big, a couple gigs if you're like maybe a gig or two, depending on how long you record. Most of them are even under that. You typically need that in your RAM, but now you have that on your hard disk and it's right into hard disk. So a really cool ad.
As I mentioned, we have audio labels now. So if you have more than one audio track, you'll see which devices are selected. Although in version 15, you only have access to remotely controlling the settings for the first track. It's gonna be a little bit more time before I can add state for multiple tracks. Same thing with video. You still have remote control over brightness and settings like that. Something I should point out is these settings, there's no default reversion button. I don't have access to that information at the moment. Something I'm going to try to add in. So if you are working with a guest, if you change their settings, those settings will be kept by their camera until the guest somehow finds a way to reset the defaults. So it's a little bit of a caution. If you start changing the defaults here, you'll need to go into your camera's drivers and refresh the defaults manually that way. Yeah, there's closed captioning. As for closed captioning, I can show you that we have two performers open, and all we had to do was add a trans flag, which tells that particular performer to start translating. And the remote participant who's viewing the stream needs to add CC for closed captioning. And now you'll have the captions overlaid on the video. You can use labels and it will apply the label to the captioning. You can also change the font size if you want to make it bigger or smaller using the font size attribute. And this is a free transcription service. It's powered by your browser. Some browsers will not support it. I don't think Safari supports it, but Firefox and Chrome do. And the results are pretty good. It's powered by the Google API, I think.
That's actually really good for the streams. There's a lot of paid services out there. And guess what? I've got this out there on my live stream, and it's transcribing in real time here. So I think that's a pretty good a cost-saving method as well.
Cost-saving, absolutely. I welcome feedback if people choose to use it. There's no swear word filtering. There is, but it's not going to catch every word. So some words are still kind of adultish, and those might slip through. But it captures some of the worst swear words, and the ones that would get you banned, I guess, are filtered. So yeah, just be cautious using it. Do some testing, provide feedback, and hopefully I'll be able to improve it.
I think that's a good part to ask. How do I provide feedback to you, or how can I communicate with you? What's the best method? The
best method would be to come to Discord, discord.obs.ninja, and there's a feature request channel. Make a feature request and try to provide some dialogue with me that lets me really know what the problem is and less what the feature is. It's important that I understand what's the problem so I can solve it correctly. Not all feature requests are needed. Sometimes there's an existing solution or there's a better way of doing it. So please come to Discord, drop some ideas, feedback, and I'll try to understand your problem better. But you can also go to GitHub and make a ticket there. We can have a dialogue on GitHub, and that works just as well.
Now, take a look in the description below. I will have a link to Discord and to the GitHub, to the wiki, all the places that you can find the information, including my YouTube channel, which definitely has a lot of OBS links there. So you can take a look at the version 14 that I just posted, which will be linked up here. And I'll include that one. It has most of the things that we talked about today, and the new features that we talked about, those will be on a separate track. I might do just a separate one of Director here in the future, probably in the next couple of weeks, because Steve always updates it, and I like to stay on top of things with it.
You're fantastic, John. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy using it. This is fun for me, and it allows me to provide everybody with content. So, Steve, before we get to our special surprise or our awesome announcement, is there anything else that you would like to share with version 15?
This was kind of in 14.4, the order flag. There's a new convert tool. This is FFmpeg in the browser. So if you want to convert any of the WebM files that are created by OBS Ninja into like an MP4, you can convert from WebM to MP4 without needing to use FFmpeg. So there's an option here for that. Otherwise, you can go through the release notes. There's lots of little small things, lots of small goodies there.
Awesome. I really appreciate it there. So I guess it's time to tell everybody about the awesome announcement that we have. And in fact, I'm not going to tell it because Steve's the one who shared it with me today. Steve, what do you want to tell everybody?
OBS Ninja on Mac OS is now natively supported in the newest version of OBS, version 26.1.2 on Mac OS. It has a new version of Chromium embedded framework, new version of the browser. It's actually newer than the Windows user. So for once, Mac users have something to brag about. The PC users might get an upgrade in the next couple months. I believe that's what I'm told. I've updated OBS Ninja to reflect those changes. So when you use Mac OBS, with OBS Ninja, you don't get an error message anymore. It works. I detect the browser and compensates accordingly. So that's fantastic news. You don't need to use the Electron Capture app anymore. You can create a browser source and just drop OBS Ninja links into it directly.
I think that is the best announcement here for OBS Studio. Now, we're talking about Studio, not Ninja, because Ninja worked great here. And those who wanted to use OBS Studio natively on their Mac, they couldn't do it without using Electron Capture, or there was a preview that Steve actually sent me the link for, and I was testing out. Now, it is 26.1.2 on there, and I cannot wait to give it a test locally here. So that's pretty awesome.
The only caveat I could think of is macOS has an H.264 hardware decoder. So if you are going to use a macOS, you might find performance might be less strenuous if you're using H.264 as a codec versus something like VP8, VP9.
That's good. That is a cool announcement. I hope everybody stuck around for that announcement. I will put this out there for everybody and let you know that this is happening. This is probably the best thing, the best news, along with the updated stuff for OBS Ninja Director. Steve, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, just fantastic. I'm looking forward to the next release here.
I think we all are. As always, everybody, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification button for when I release the next OBS Ninja update. I'm always in communication here with Steve, and we found about this today, and I want to get this out in the next couple of days. I think this is really important information, and I love the power that's coming to the director panel because it's allowing us more control for those who are behind the scenes doing the live stream events and handling guest invites and moving things around. So as always, I really appreciate everybody following along. Steve, I appreciate your time and always carving out some for me to make these videos and send out this content.
I appreciate you making them too. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve. Have yourself a good one.
You too. Bye, John.